على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. القول مني في جميع الأشياء قول آل محمد فيما أسروا وما أعلنوا، فيما بلغني عنهم وفيما لم يبلغني. أما بعد، فقد قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Today, and in these 2 days, we are honoring the remembrance of the birth of Sayyida Fatima al-Ma'suma Salamullahi alayha, the daughter of Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam, and the sister of Imam al-Reda alayhi salam, and the auntie of Imam Muhammadin al-Jawad Salamullahi alayhima ajma'een. This is a great woman, and a very important woman for the Shia, as the place where she is buried, which is Qum, is what? A sanctuary for the Shia. A sanctuary, an epicenter for the Shia. Like how Karbala is an epicenter for the Shia, like how Najaf is an epicenter for the Shia, also Qum is an epicenter for the Shia because of the burial there of Lady Fatima Ma'suma Salamullahi alayha. We will talk about her inshallah, even if briefly, but important foundations have to be talked about when we link a certain aspect of this great woman and why she reached such a great level and status in the eyes of Allah Azza wa Jal. It starts with Islam itself. Islam, when it was introduced at a time and in a place where your value was fixed. Your value was fixed. Who you are was a result of where you were born, into what family you were born, what race you were, what gender you were. Fixed. That was your value. If you were born to a family of poverty, to a tribe that is not seen as honorable among the Arabs, and you were born a woman, you are in the worst of places. Gender, race, tribe, monetary wise as well, if you were born to a rich or poor family, is fixed. If you were born into wealth, you're lucky. If you weren't, then that's it. Your value was the tribe you were from. Your value was if you were a man or a woman. Your value was if you were black or white in complexion. And it was fixed. That was your self-worth. That was all you were. Islam came in and changed this. It changed the idea that your worth is determined by your gender, or your worth is determined by your race, or your worth is determined by if you were rich or poor. Islam changed that. And in many different aspects. But I will talk about 2 verses that will really help us understand this. We look at the first one, which I started with. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. O mankind, we created you from male and female and made you into peoples and tribes so that you may know one another. Indeed, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is the most pious. See, here Islam is practical. You see, some philosophies, some point of views, they are too optimistic. They want you to be in such a high level that is not practical with where you are. Islam is practical in what sense? It acknowledges tribes. It acknowledges that there are differences among the people. However, it says that is not where your value is. Allah has made it so that you are different tribes, that you are different genders, that you are different race. By genders, I mean two. They're clipping the video now. It's going to turn into a policy issue. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So that you may know one another. So that you may know one another. This is a blessing from Allah. However, your value is not in that. What is your value? What is your honor? Dictated by, at the end of the verse, what does it say? Inna akramakum indallah atqakum. Here is the value. The value is your piety. Whoever amongst you is more pious, that is the person of value. Not where you were born from, not if you were Arab or non-Arab, not if you were from a known and strong tribe or a weak one. Not if you were a man or a woman. Your piety is what gives you this honor. Another verse, what does it say? Gives us the equation to a good life. Everyone wants a good life. However, what is the equation for this good life and what decides what a good life is? It says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Man amila salihan min dhakarin aw untha wa huwa mu'min فلنحيينه حياة طيبة ولنجزينهم أجرهم بأحسن ما كانوا يعملون. Whoever does righteousness, does good acts, whether male or female, while being a believer, we will grant them a good life and we will surely reward them according to the best of what they used to do. See, here it gives us the equation. What's the equation for a good life? Everyone asks, what's the meaning of life? How do I know if I've led a meaningful life or not? How do I know if what I'm doing is satisfying or is fulfilling to what I'm doing in this world? Look at these two things. Are you doing righteous acts, good deeds, benefiting others, adding value to the world, adding value to others around you? Helping others, becoming the best version of yourself. This is doing good. This is amal salih. But what's the second part? وَهُوَ مُؤْمِن. And they are a believer. But notice between these two requirements for a good life, what does it say? It says, مَنْ عَمَلَ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا مِنْ ذَكَرٍ أَوْ أُنْثَى. It made sure to put it in between these two requirements. Doesn't matter. Dhakar or if you're a male or a female, anyone can attain this good life that we will surely give them if these two things are met. The good actions, the righteous deeds, and faith, iman. The Quran didn't ask what tribe you're from, what ashira. The Quran didn't ask what color skin you were. The Quran didn't ask what gender you were. It said you want a happy life. You want a life of honor from Allah, a life that Allah deems it valuable for you. Righteous deeds and iman, piety. These are the priorities. These are your value. Not how much money you made. Not what tribe you belong to. Not who you are in the society that you're around. It's your piety, your closeness to Allah, your good deeds, the way you benefit and you help others. This is also part of it. The respect, the akhlaq is part of it, along with faith. Now, the reason why I mention this is because it has often been mentioned, a criticism against Islam, which is that Islam promotes this hierarchy, this idea that there is certain levels better than another. That Islam promotes the idea that man is better than woman, regardless of which man or which woman it is. That Islam sees it as a general rule that man is above woman. Arab is above non-Arab. Because the Quran is Arabic, in Arabic. So Arab is above non-Arab. The Arab race, lighter complexions are better than what? The darker complexions. They say Islam is the same as everyone else. It also conforms to these hierarchies and has preferences that one is better than another. This is a criticism that is now presented, and it says, this is Islam. This is what Islam poses. Now, we need to be very careful when we assess this claim, assess this criticism. Because oftentimes, when you delve deep into what these people are speaking of, most of the time, I don't want to give a general rule either, but most of the time, what they're speaking of is the cultural background, the cultural rules that have been not Islam. But the problem is they haven't differentiated the two. That's the problem. Look back at it. Look at the idea of the Arabs are better than the non-Arabs. This isn't Islamic. We just looked at two verses. The idea that man is better than woman isn't Islamic. I'm talking about as any man or every man is better than any woman or every woman. I'm not talking about the piety aspect. I'm not talking about the values that Allah has placed in our worth. I'm talking about a general rule. They're cultural. They are not religious. But the problem is we have made a lack of diagnosis when it comes to the two. There has been a mix between culture and Islam, and we do not know the difference between the two, and as a result, we criticize it and we say this is Islam. Whereas Islam is a divine value system of what? Of money? Of gender? Of race? No. Taqwa, piety, good deeds, moral acts. These are the value standards of Islam. Anything else is not part of Islam. This is what Islam promotes. But the problem here is the culture aspect. See, culture is what? Human construct. Human construct built up by human experiences, shared as a collective, dictated by the loudest voices, and oftentimes the most powerful voices. That becomes culture. In a general sense, that's culture. Because what's culture? Is it divinely mandated? No. It is what? A human construct of shared experiences, often dictated by the loudest voice. That's culture. Islam is different. Islam is, when it gives you the moral value system, it's fixed. It doesn't change. Culture changes. What was looked upon negatively in the past is now looked upon favorably. And what was looked upon favorably in the past has also been changed. With Islam, the higher order value systems are the same. Piety remains the number one. Good acts and faith remains the standard. And the danger here becomes when we do not know how to differentiate between the two. Why does it become dangerous? It becomes dangerous because this becomes inherited. there's always a first generation. Mixes a cultural with a religious. Passes it on to the next. Passes it on to the next. By the third, fourth, fifth generation, they think that particular thing is part of religion. They think that particular thing is what? The heart of religion. It was transmitted. It was transmitted. And the danger here is when someone lives their whole life on a certain inherited idea of religion, which was really more culture than religion, and you tell them the true version of religion, it becomes very hard for them to understand. What does the Quran say about this? It says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ قَالُوا بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ مَا أَلْفَيْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا. When it is said to them, follow what Allah has revealed, they say, rather, we follow what we found our fathers upon. See here, they don't argue if what Allah has revealed is right or wrong or good or bad, the pros, the cons. No, they don't even look at any of that. Zero free thought, zero intelligence, zero critical thinking. What is their response? We found our fathers like this. My father done this. My family does this. I'm going to do the same. They don't even think about if what they're doing is right or wrong. All they're thinking about is, I'll just do what everyone else does. I'll just do what everyone else does. Sometimes the Quran is perfect in its wording, by the way. That you can carry knowledge. You can say you have knowledge. But if you have no critical thinking to decide, well, the knowledge that I'm carrying, is it good or is it bad? The example is beautiful. What does the Quran say in Surah Al-Jum'ah? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. مثلهم كمثل الحمار. Their example is that of a donkey. يحمل أسفارا. بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله. That their example is that of a donkey. How? The donkey carries asfar. It can carry books. It can carry libraries for all it cares. But does that actual animal understand anything? No. Right now, we are in the gold rush of information. A small device that you carry in your pocket can have more knowledge than what 2 million people would have worked their entire lives on 60 years ago, 50 years ago. Do we see the rate of education going any higher? No. They carry that, yes. Does it benefit? No. No. That is what I like to call it generational ignorance. It's not the fault of one generation. It is a disease. This ignorance, it's a disease passed on from one generation to another. And whatever idea of religion which is mixed with culture is in their head is only more strengthened and strengthened with the next generation. And it only gets worse and worse from one generation to the next. And when I say ignorance, I do not mean it as an insult. I genuinely mean it by the definition of the word. When I mean ignorance by the failure to reflect and verify what you are being exposed to. You're in a culture, you're surrounded in a system that gives you certain things. These ideas that you have, the way that you live. It is very important for us to stop and think, well, is this correct? Is this right? Well, why is it right? If it's right, why? Because if you will continue the rest of your life saying, yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'll take that. Okay. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. What my father does, okay, I'll do that as well. What my mother does, I'll do that as well. What my friends do, I'll do as well. Whatever they do, I'll just do as well. Like a parrot, like a sheep, whatever they do, I'll do it as well. They grow up, they have a family, they become grown men and women, and when you ask them what their belief is, they'll tell you. But the moment you ask them, why do you believe this? Why do you believe this to be the truth? They fall apart. You ask them, they fall apart. They wouldn't know how to answer you. They wouldn't actually know how to answer you. If you were to ask them why you believe in Allah, if you were to ask them why you believe that Islam is the answer, if you were to ask them why you believe in the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, if you were asked to believe in all of these things, he would not know how to answer. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. ثاني على حب الإمام الكاظم عليه السلام. ثالث على حب السيدة معصومة بأعلى أصواتكم. ممكن من الناس سدون الباب أبو محمد، ذاك الباب سده، ذاك الباب إيه رحم الله والديك، سدوا الباب، سدوا الباب هذا. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. So they'll be asked questions they wouldn't know how to answer. And that is why culture and religion becomes mixed. And that is why we inherit this false idea of what we think to be the true Islam. And that is the problem. When Islam is misrepresented and we do not know that it has been altered in the way that we are understanding Islam itself. And that is why I emphasize education for everyone. A lot of people may think that, no, the way for me is not to go to university. The way for me is to live a life where, you know, after uni, I'll open a business. MashaAllah, everyone now is an entrepreneur. Everyone now wants to open a business. Everyone now thinks that it's going to work out. And MashaAllah, artificial intelligence is taking away their businesses one by one. One by one, with every new update of Anthropic or OpenAI, there is a new wave of entrepreneurs losing their jobs and going back to McDonald's. And it's fine. You want to take that route? Go for it. But I still recommend education. Because at the very least, if it teaches you nothing, it teaches you critical thinking. How to read. If what you're reading is right or wrong. How do you analyze being fed a piece of information? Nowadays, we live off of this screen. This screen is advertising a whole range of things to us. We don't even know because there is no literacy among us. We do not know that our choices are being made for us through advertisements, through all of these different types of marketing. But because we don't want to go uni, because we don't want to learn, because we think, you know, by year 10 or year 11 we had life figured out. That's what I thought as well. I thought by year 10, year 11, year 12, life was figured out for me. And they told me the same thing I'm telling you right now, wallah. They said that you don't have it figured out. Don't worry, don't talk to me. I have it figured out. How can I not have it figured out? But then you start to understand new things. You start to understand it's not about the idea of going and getting an education. It's the education itself. The whole idea of being exposed to other ideas and still remaining strong with your one. Don't think that you are going to be the best of people if you believe in something and then lock yourself from the world and then think that you got it figured out. And don't think that that's the right option. Because the moment you are exposed to other ideas, the moment you are exposed to misconceptions against your religion, a whole factory reset will happen to you. You'll think that everything that you know is wrong. The moment that you won't be able to answer a question when someone asks you about your faith, you'll think everything that you know is wrong. That's what you think. And that is why the Quran demands that we reflect. What does the Quran say? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنِ. Do they not reflect upon the Quran? See here, it calls for us to reflect. Not process information in the gigabytes. No, it says reflect. Stop. Stop. Stop trying to cram everything in life into one file and putting it in your brain. No, sit there, reflect on the fundamentals. Look on the Quran and reflect. Because that's the thing, the whole idea of ignorance, it will be used as an excuse. And there are so many verses that talk about the different excuses that people will use on the Day of Judgment. Verses of the Quran that tell you that there are people on the Day of Judgment in front of the judgment of Allah Azza wa Jal are going to dare to make what? Excuses and blame others. On the Day of Judgment, they'll blame others. One of them is who? Iblis. On the Day of Judgment, they'll blame, Ya Rab, it was shaitan. It was shaitan, it wasn't me. They'll blame their parents. They'll blame their friends. They'll even blame Allah on the Day of Judgment. Even Allah will be blamed on the Day of Judgment. But will any of these work? And of these excuses that they make on the Day, oh Allah, we didn't know. Why are you on the wrong path? Why do you not know about your faith? Ya Allah, no one told me. So Allah asked two questions. This is a hadith by Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. That Yawm al-Qiyamah, he will ask the servant, he will say, Ya Abdi, akunta aliman? Were you knowledgeable? There's two answers that the servant will answer Allah Azza wa Jal. Either he says yes or no. If he says yes, إذا قال نعم قال له لما ما عملت بما علمت. He says, okay, you were knowledgeable. Why didn't you act upon what you know about? Why didn't you act? It's not about only having knowledge. Okay, you have the knowledge that you know disrespecting your parents is wrong, yet you still do the disrespect. You have the knowledge to know that misrepresenting your religion in front of others by acting and carrying yourself the wrong way is an insult to the Ahlul Bayt, yet you still do it. Why didn't you act with what you knew? And the second scenario is that what is he going to say to Allah? That no, I didn't know anything and no one told me anything. I didn't know. فإن قال ما أعلم لا أعلم. The answer is لما لم تتعلم. Then why didn't you learn? Well, you think you're excused because you didn't know. Why didn't you learn? Why didn't you at least put yourself in the path of learning? فلله الحجة البالغة. This is the tafsir for that verse. That the final and conclusive proof is for who? Allah. You think your excuses now, they make you feel good. They make you feel good. It's not me, it's my friends, it's my family, it's the environment that I grew up in. It's never my fault. They make you feel good now. They don't work on the Day of Judgment. They don't work in the eyes of Allah. They don't work when you are speaking to your Creator, the one who has witnessed everything you've done and every thought you may have. It won't work on Him. Yeah, you may convince your parents. You may convince your friends. You may convince yourself even. Allah won't be tricked like you can trick the others. And reflection is important. Because the Quran, see, here's the beauty of the Quran. There is not a single thing that you can go through in your life that Allah has not given an example of. An exemplar that you can learn from. For example, you're in an environment that force you to go against your faith. You think you have it tough? You think that's it? You think that's your excuse to go against Allah? You think that's your excuse to let go of everything? Allah gives you Ibrahim. He grew up with his uncle who didn't believe in Allah. And because he didn't believe, they wanted to throw him into the fire. There's Ibrahim. You think you have it tough because you have a wife who's making your life hard? Yeah, Habibi, look at Nuh. You think you have it tough because you grew up without your father. Your father was far away from you. You didn't have a father figure in your life. Habibi, look at Yusuf. You think you had it tough because you lost everything you had. You lost your money. You lost your money. You lost everything you have. Look at Ayub. Look at Ayub, who not only lost his money and his farms, he lost all his children in one day. He lost his money, his farm. He lost all his children. From what I remember, it was at least more than 10 children. They burned in their house. He lost his house. And he was sick. He couldn't move. He was paralyzed. His wife had to put him over a rug and drag the rug. He was cast outside of his city. And his wife didn't leave him, by the way. He didn't have the test of Nuh, at least, alhamdulillah. His wife, and by the way, his wife is the daughter of Yusuf, the wife of Ayub. He lost all of this. Did that excuse him from losing hope? No. So if you think you losing everything is an excuse for you to go off the rails, as they say, you have Ayub. If you think because you're a woman, and we live in a society where a woman is looked down upon if she's modest. A woman is looked down upon if she covers herself. A woman is looked down upon if she doesn't wear makeup. And this society is forcing me to act this way. Allah will tell you, look at Asya bint Muzahim. The wife of who? The wife of who? The wife of Fir'aun. The wife of who? Fir'aun himself. His wife. Allah says she is an example not only for the women, no, for everyone who believes. Men and women, Arab and non-Arab, black or white. She is your role model. And you will take her as a role model. And Allah made her eternal in His book. What does it say? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وضرب الله مثلا للذين آمنوا امرأة فرعون إذ قالت رب ابن لي عندك بيتا في الجنة ونجني من فرعون وعمله ونجني من القوم الظالمين. And Allah sets forth an example for those who believe. The wife of Pharaoh, when she said, my Lord, build for me near you a house in paradise and save me from Pharaoh and his deeds and save me from the oppressive people. This is the wife of who? Fir'aun. She didn't say, and she had all the excuses that we may have used. What's the excuses? My husband is Fir'aun. How am I supposed to believe? I'm in the castle of Fir'aun. If they tell on me, I'll be killed. All of these things around her, and she still decided to believe. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. She still decided to believe. So the Quran is basically telling you what? What's your excuse? What is it? What's your excuse? Man or woman? Black or white, Arab or non-Arab, rich or poor, tall or short. What is your excuse? Because whatever excuse you're trying to think about for the day of judgment, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You do not inherit righteousness. You earn it. This is a meritocracy. You earn your merits. You're not born into it. And you may be born into a good family, but you have to still prove yourself. Look at Sayyidah Ma'sooma salamullahi alayhi. The daughter of an imam, the sister of an imam, the auntie of an imam. And what? Does that mean that's what got her where she is today? Because she was born into it? No. She had sisters, but we only remember her. Why? Because she said it's not an excuse that that's it, I'm born into a whole lineage of imamas, that's it, I sit down and do nothing. She was a scholar in her own right. A muhadditha. She narrates, chains of narrations go back to Sayyida Fatima al-Ma'suma. Narrations from Amir al-Mu'mineen, from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. She was a scholar. She was a worshipper of Allah, that even in her last days where she was eventually buried in Qom, they said that her last days was just worship. She was sick, some say she was poisoned, but she didn't think about anything. She only thought about Allah. And the whole reason for her travel from Medina was to go to who? Imam al-Reda. After her brother was sent to Khurasan, she went to go seek him out. Not because he's her brother, because he's the Imam of her time. She left everything she knew behind and she went to the Imam of her time. And because of that, Qom is a sanctuary. Because of that, Imam al-Rida, when he teaches the Shia what to say in the ziyarah, when you visit Sayyida Ma'suma, what does he teach us to say? He teaches us to say, Ya Fatima, ishfa'i li fil jannah, fa inna laki inda Allah sha'nan min ash-sha'n. That, O Fatima, intercede for me in paradise, for you hold a magnificent standing in front of the eyes of Allah Azza wa Jal. You're asking, the Imam is telling you to ask for the intercession of Fatima al-Ma'suma. This is an Imam who knows the values, who knows the scales of worth. Not like me and people like me who think that it's money what decides what your worth is. It's your gender, it's your race. It is the Imam, and he tells you that you ask intercession from Lady Fatima Ma'suma. These other excuses won't work for you on the Day of Judgment. But Fatima al-Ma'suma and her love and her intercession, insha'Allah, will. Allahumma ajli waliyaka al-faraj والعافية والنصر واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه ومن شيعته ومحبيه وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآله